Jai Deva Deva Devukiyo Jai Deva Deva Tayatalaki Kavanga Savela Natarajan Kavava Tayyum 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 Ta Tay Tayyum Kailasavasa Isa Mageta Kailasavasa Isa Mageta Dinula Brobanga Darishara Rara Dinula Brobanga Darishara Rara.
I think Peace Corps volunteers are kind of individuals anyway, and sort of go their own way, so to speak. And I think one of the ways it influenced what I chose to do when I came back was I started doing childbirth education. It was at a time when husbands weren't allowed in the delivery room, so it was one of those things that was still something that I wanted to fight for, something that I thought was important. And we took the Princeton University Hospital to court, so in their first days, and that was one of the first places that they allowed parents to be in things. And I think I did the same thing when I started working in HIV and AIDS, because it again was something that people had the stigma against, and they thought it was not a good thing. And just the challenge of challenging other people to accept it, and to see that people were the same all over. Didn't matter whether it was in India or here.
That's right.
And I think transferring it back to the U.S. was very important to me.
Exactly.
Because we have a lot of things in our own country that still need to be changed.
We may have taken leadership positions,
Right.
but except in Brent's case, maybe, I don't know if any of the rest of you who were in state legislatures, but we work at the grassroots level, and
I think so.
and we try to affect change that way, but I don't think we're going to affect national politics.
And to expand a little bit on what Kathy said about grassroots, a lot of us brought up families and so on, which took up a lot of our time. Plus, working as nurses and so on, which was a caring profession to begin with. For myself, I became more politically active. I'm well aware, and I've walked picket lines, and I've walked protest lines, gone to city council meetings, and that sort of thing. So, it's a grassroots level, but it still spills over, I think, from the Peace Corps experience.
I think they were afraid of us way back, because there was a rumor that Nixon had destroyed the Peace Corps records and things. I don't know if that was true, but that's what I heard.
Along with his own.
We would go from service under the conservatives to community organizing under the liberals. And I watched that pendulum swing back and forth as the administrations changed. But all the time, the people volunteering were just like us. They were all the same kinds of people. I don't know how that reflects on this group, but it got to me that there was kind of a pattern for a long time that you got a lot of Catholic girls and a lot of Jewish boys. And I don't know where that came from, but no, I mean, it was part of the, I don't know whether it was...
And what did it produce?
A lot of confusion. But I don't know.
I've seen a noticeable difference in Peace Corps volunteers. And when we went in, I don't remember anyone thinking, what are you going to do after India? I mean, I might have stayed in India for all I knew. And no one thought about it padding your resume. Well, when I came to my first reunion, which was your second, I was astounded. I was afraid people had, were all conservative Republican business people. No, I was serious. That kind of sold out. And it was great. You all had the same values, and we bonded right away. So
They wouldn't pay me enough.
What?
Yeah. Can't do that.
Well, Peter, I told you a story when I went back to the 25th Peace Corps reunion, the big national one in Washington, D.C. with Harry Belafonte and Carolyn Kennedy and everyone. And I went with a return volunteer from India, 13. At the time, I am a nurse. I was working as a nurse. I was working for a company that manufactured dialysis equipment, and I was doing good things. But the company happened to be owned by Dow Chemical. And she was working as a collector with a degree in a master's degree in international relations. She was working as a collector for the Internal Revenue Service. And we went to the 25-year Peace Corps reunion, a little bit after the Bhopal incident, I think. And also, you know, we had also brought the world thalidomide. And I said, everyone else was doing wonderful things, you know, collecting glasses for the blind in Haiti and shoes for the poor. And I said, Sandy, we can't really tell people what we do. We're the only people here that aren't doing good directly.
Not PC.
And you know, in all honesty, that Peace Corps experience, I don't think I ever brought anything home. And I mean, working for Dow Chemical, it was not easy to, it was pretty good old boys school. But they sent me back to India because I said I was willing to go. And when they found out that I could not only go to India, but I could go to China and I could go, and within a much shorter period of time, get some kind of feeling for what was expected and how you dealt and how you taught and lecture. And I mean, so did I do, and I never had any major political groups, but I used that and I taught all around the world.
For both Georgine and me, the whole Peace Corps experience was something we wanted to try to use at home, but again, as mentioned by others, you know, you're kind of on your own. And we sort of hit in with Habitat for Humanity and ended up finding that was a great way to use some of the skills we learned and the empathy perhaps for working with people who were in a worse economic situation than us, both in this country and overseas. And we were fortunate enough to be able to take our kids on some of these trips that we did with Habitat that took them to India. And the fact that they both got interested both in AmeriCorps and one of them in the Peace Corps, I think, was all because of what all of us did. And I was just going to add, you know, while each of us were alone, it occurred to me listening to this, I think that's probably one of the reasons that our reunion groups have been so positive, is because we still have that bonding, that same faith and the same basic interests, and are the same people we were then, and that's why we bonded so well all these times in these last 15 years.
Could I have a question? Rick, would you have, if you hadn't gone in the Peace Corps, would you have done Habitat? And if Tom hadn't gone in the Peace Corps, would you be in FEMA, or would you be teaching teachers? You know what I mean?
Yes, it changed my life.
Yeah.
And I always felt like I was cheating, because after I got out, I got paid well by the United States government to go out and do good. And I'm still getting paid well to go do good. And that was really, that's kind of fun. I mean, they have a job all your life, you know, where it was to go out and do good, or to motivate national service, or try and help people, and actually get rewarded too, and on a financial side, so you could live securely and support your family. I feel like I stole something from life almost.
You appreciate that too.
Of course, that's the way it should work, right?
I don't know.
Win-win.
That there's all this stuff to do
You know,
in this country and around the world that needs to be done, and
But one
the
of the
people who
things
do
I-
it well get compensated at least reasonably for what they're doing and feel good about it. Doesn't sound very weird. It just sounds improbable.